Hey, well, friends, welcome back to the podcast. We're delighted that you've decided to join us. We're going to be talking about the Centers of Intelligence, or the Triads of the Enneagram, over the next several episodes. And we're going to be actually interviewing some folks that are within that triad. Today, we're going to be talking about the Head Center, which is types 5s, 6, and 7s, which, if I'm honest, on the Enneagram Simple, that is the best neighborhood to be in.
I would disagree.
Well, that's too bad. Yeah, no one cares about your voice. So as you can hear,
you're just confirming my lies.
We're off to a great start.
Our guests are here, and so let's go first with the voice that you all know and love, Adam Breckenridge, the YEC Director of Coaching. Welcome, Adam. Is there anything new that you want to share about the audience?
He's representing the 6s.
He's representing the 6s.
I just can't stop laughing because you just told your type 9 wife, who's the leader of the company, to just shut up. It's just oh, both of you are my favorite. You're just my favorite. No, hey everybody, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here and hang out on the podcast with you guys and our guests and our listeners. And so I don't know if there's anything new. I'm still married to my wife, Carrie.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations, Adam. I know that it's hit and miss, and you never know what's going to happen. You've still got 3 daughters. They're still around.
I still have 3 daughters, and they are a full-time job, and I'm still the director of coaching at Your Enneagram Coach, which means I get to work with the greatest team in the world, supporting and equipping Enneagram coaches around the world. And
good job, Adam.
Thanks for
Easter
having
bonuses around the corner. Now, Adam, you just had something special happen in your life, though. Your oldest daughter, you had a special moment with her daughter this last weekend. We're recording this the week after Easter, so.
That's right. My oldest daughter, Lucy, who just turned 11 a couple of weeks ago, I had the privilege of baptizing her on Easter Sunday. So it was so fun. And the moment that I got into the waters with her and I had the mic, I said, "Hey, Lucy," and just lost it. And so I wasn't sure exactly what was going to come out of my mouth. The only thing I kept telling myself is, don't preach a sermon before the sermon. Okay? Because you just keep short and sweet. And I only talked for about 2 minutes, but I couldn't hardly speak. And it was such a sweet moment.
We have an incredibly awkward photo of me walking our daughter down the aisle. And it's because I'm trying not to lose it. But my face looks like I'm miserable walking down the aisle.
You look like you're holding the tears inside. That's what you look like.
Oh, when I saw all of our friends and family there, I was like, okay, this is it. No, I'm gonna lose this. So,
yeah. Well, then let's have Renee introduce yourself for us here.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I am married. We have 3 adult daughters and 2 son-in-laws, and we have 3 sweet little grandchildren, ages 1, 1.5, and 3. They're lots of fun, and I live in Louisiana. And through a difficult illness and a bad car accident, God with one of my daughters, God led me to write a book for women, and it's called "Finding Me: A Woman's Guide to Learning More About Herself." And through that, which that book looks at emotional, spiritual, and physical well-being, God directed me to life coaching. And then I finally felt like I found what I was supposed to do when I grew up. So I was like, thank you, Lord. And then I felt like the next step that God led me to was Enneagram coaching. And it was just a perfect fit for finding me. And so I got my Enneagram coaching certification. I completed that last year. And I'm excited to be using the Enneagram in my coaching.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Which type are you representing in the Head Triad today?
I am representing type 5.
All right. Type 5.
So the 5 part of my heart is online big time. And so for my birthday this year, I've decided that we want to try to do a crawfish boil. We've never done this before. And Beth is looking at me like, why would you even try to do this?
The 9 is like, really? Like,
What-
why? Let's just make it easy. Like, let's,
So I expect 20, 25 people. I had no clue how much crawfish you need for a party like that. You need a lot, right, Renee?
Mm-hmm. Yes. In fact, we just had crawfish on Easter. That's kind of our tradition for Easter. So we normally have boiled crawfish. And so, yes, it takes a lot. You peel, you have all of the whole crawfish,
Uh-huh.
you peel it, and then you have a very small amount. And so it
Yes.
takes a lot to fill you up.
Oh, wow.
Now, my son, who's done this a few different times, is saying like, hey, you're going to have a lot of rookies in attendance who have no idea how to eat this thing. And he was suggesting that we get fewer crawfish and more shrimp. Would you advise the same? Does it take some practice to learn how to eat these things?
It does take some practice to learn how to peel them quickly. And, people who do this all the time, man, they can just go through, just peel them so fast and pop them in their mouth. And so I'm not familiar with shrimp really. So I don't know the comparison, how to, I guess, compare the two.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does take a little practice with those hard shells on the tails to peel them off. And
Yeah.
then, of course, too, you can peel off the claws. And, some people suck the heads. There's all kind of things you can do with those crawfish.
Did you not know that?
I'm not sure.
That
So
is
there's
kind of
part of
gross.
my-
Maybe
I
we
grew up
should
in
edit
Kansas
that out.
City. I grew
There's-
up in Kansas City. We don't eat much seafood.
There's
in
part of my
Kansas
heart
City.
that's excited about it, and I've got some bourbons that we're going to be trying and letting people taste, and then also eating these. And then there's also, how do I do it? How much food do I need? And Beth doesn't want any part of it.
I don't.
Any part of it at all.
I don't. Yeah, my 9 part is like, there's so many easier ways of doing this, but hey,
Can't you just ask for a cake?
But he's learned just if he wants to do that, he does the research, asks other people to help him, and then I just come alongside and enjoy the ride. Or at least I try.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Well, Kasey, tell us about you.
Yeah, I'm Kasey Brennan. I live in Orlando, Florida. My husband of 15 years, and we have 3 kids. They're all 10 and under, so life is busy. My middle son, and I'll share this story a little later, but my middle son has an intellectual disability, which kind of led me to becoming an Enneagram coach,
Wow.
just facing all of those anxieties and fears and the unknowns, and trying to name that and realize what it is I was actually feeling. And so it helped me so much that I wanted to give that back and become a coach. So
That's awesome.
Wow.
And obviously, if we've got a 5, a 6, you represent
and the
the
fun.
7s. Yeah. She's going to bring the life here.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, great. Well,
I'm just curious, based upon your child's struggle, what have you found out about being a 7 that you wouldn't have known had they not been in your life?
Oh, so many things. I mean, I think a lot of it comes down to that core. The 7s are always trying to escape pain and escape anything that's uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And I've had to sit in it and
Yeah.
just be in it. And so that's been probably the hardest thing for me ever. It's
Yeah.
still a struggle,
Yeah.
but it's also something I'm super mindful and intentional about now, that I have to sit in it and walk through it rather than skip over it.
Yes.
Wow.
There. What's the movie that we often think of when we think of 7s?
Inside
sitting-
Out.
Well, yes, Inside Out's one of them. What's the other one though? Patch Adams
Oh, yeah. Patch
with
Adams.
Robin
Oh,
Williams.
yeah.
Such a
Yes,
great
I haven't
movie.
seen that in a
7.
long time.
But I mean, there's a light that 7s
Mhm.
can bring in moments of suffering
Yes.
that is such a gift to us all. So that's awesome.
Yes.
Well, fantastic. Well, Bethy, why don't we dive into triads in general, and then I think we're going to take type 5 first. So why don't you take us?
Yeah, so the Enneagram is divided up, as we know, into 9 types, basic types, but they are grouped into groups of 3. So there's 3 in the gut triad, which are 8, 9s, and 1s. There are 3 in the heart triad, which are 2s, 3s, and 4s. And then you, Al, who are the 5, 6, and 7s in the head triad. Now, the head triad, in each of these categories, there's an imbalance in their, like an emotional struggle and an imbalance in their desires. So we're going to kind of take a look at that here. So for you guys, you have an imbalance in your thinking, and you guys might be thinking, what?
I'm offended.
I
that
know, right? Like,
Beth just called me imbalanced.
yeah. Like what? My thinking is excellent. I think all the time. Yes, you guys do. But this group shares different assets and liabilities surrounding your thinking, which helps you to engage in life and circumstances through mental analysis. Now, the head triad, they share the mental struggle of anxiety, or you can say fear. And how that plays out, it's a little bit different for each of these three types. So the type 5s, they're going to be anxious that they don't know enough to go out in the world and actually do. The 6s are anxious because they're thinking of all the negative possibilities that could happen. And so that stirs up a lot of anxiety and worry and predictions. But the type 7s, a lot of people might be thinking 7s aren't anxious. They're like fun and always going, but they are anxious because they're anxious about being forced to focus on their inner world, being trapped in emotional pain, and being deprived of the things that they want to do. So as you can see, all three struggle with this imbalance of fear or anxiety, but they're focusing on a common desire, and that's security. But again, security looks different for each of these three types. So the type 5s are looking to feel secure through knowledge and understanding. The type 6s are looking for security by knowing all the possibilities and being prepared and having a plan for all the contingencies and having a support system in place. But the 7s, well, they're seeking security by avoiding their internal world and the anxieties that it can bring by escaping to fun. So they're bouncing out into the world, looking for stimulation, excitement, and experiencing everything great and not the inner world, which it has for them a lot of the true anxieties and focusing and being able to see the reality of life at hand. So with that being said, I would just love to hear, just real quickly, does this land on you guys well? Like, does this seem to resonate with you?
I want to be a better 7.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be a better 7. What does that mean?
I just don't want to think about it.
Oh, you want to lean into your 7.
I want to lean in, jump in head first, all
That's
in.
what I'm talking about.
Or just come over to my side as the 9 and just kind of shut it down, numb out.
Yeah, but
I
7s,
guess
Yeah.
It's 7s make it more fun.
They do. It's a lot more fun.
Yeah, they block the pain in a more fun way.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say that's true. But yeah, so
Yeah.
for you guys, how did some of those descriptions land on you? Is this true?
It's 100% true.
When I was pastoring, sometimes the joke was you come off of preaching, and sometimes there would be an older guy in our congregation and pull me aside and say, "You moved from preaching to meddling today, and I would like for you to back off a little bit."
Wait,
and
are you telling your boss to back off?
No, but I would say you're meddling a little bit.
That's my gift, though, is meddling.
So
in a 9 way.
Yes. That's funny. I think, Adam, you told your boss that her voice doesn't matter. Different word.
That's 2 strikes today.
Two strikes.
Renee, what about you?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it just came to my attention recently how often I use the word think. I think, let me think about that. And I was just, because when I became aware of it, I was just thinking that I need to come up with a different word, because I feel like, wow, what other word could I use in place of that? Because that is obviously my first go-to.
Well, a lot of times people will say to a 5, well, how do you feel about that? And the 5 will usually say, well, I think, they'll start with, I think, I feel a certain way.
I will say this. One of the things that I've learned in some of the various pastoral counseling trainings that I've done, in order to be fully present with the client, I think through what my feelings are. How does what a person is saying to me, how do I initially feel? And what am I inclined to do, to think or to process, whatever it may be. And then usually my last go-to is the gut. Like what's my instinct telling me that my mind hasn't caught up to? But it is
Yeah.
a helpful way just to realize, like, how did that land on me?
Yeah.
And
Well, and I should have said this earlier, but this is how you approach circumstances. You start from the thinking center. It doesn't mean you don't have feelings. It doesn't mean you don't have a gut reaction. We have all three, but this is the primary one that rises up first.
it is interesting for you to say that. Beth and I are in the midst of our of writing our next book, and Beth is very instinctual, gut oriented. I'm very thinking oriented, and that can be very
Oh,
frustrating.
it is, because he'll be like, okay, so what do you want to cover? And in the combination of gut instincts, you've got my 9-ness, right? So then I don't always know what I want. I know what maybe you want. And so, we don't,
So funny.
in America, we don't really say, like, we talk about I'm thinking this way, I'm feeling this way, but we rarely have terminology and words for the gut instinct. And so a lot of times I'm like, I can kind of visualize or see where I'm wanting to head, but I don't know how to put it in words yet.
You've captured a metaphor right now.
Yeah.
But you don't know how to lay it out.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, but I have this real gut sense of where I'm wanting to go. And so it's just really frustrating. So sometimes I'm like what you just said, I would love to lean into my, head center more so I can get what I'm wanting out in words. So, but that means,
yeah, Kasey, what about you? How did that initially land on you?
Yeah, I mean, it's 100% true. I think I lean a lot on an 8 wing. And so mine kind of goes head, gut immediately. It's almost like an intuitive response. And sometimes I'll skip right over and just impulsively act like with my gut. But I do live constantly in my head, and I hate it. I hate living in my head because I'm always like creating scenarios to escape any kind of uncomfortable feelings or any kind of pain rather than just react.
And now, Bethy, so we have another type who says that they think about scenarios. What do you think are the differences between the scenarios in a 6's head versus a 7's head?
Oh, well, the 7s are best case thinking.
Is that right? So, like, like we may face a problem, but here's what we can do if we do face it.
Yes, all the time. I have solutions for everything already. I'm like, well, this will work out because, or
whereas
what do you think for you, Adam? What are your scenarios?
It's definitely lends itself more toward worst case scenario thinking. So this is how this is going to devastate my life. This is how I'm going to end up living under a bridge.
So I need to be prepared. I need to know all of the contingencies.
I need to think.
Hoping that it will go well, but I got to plan for the worst. Whereas the 7s are like, no, we're going to think. Yeah. It's literally best case thinking.
Yeah,
everything is figureoutable.
Say, I don't know. I've never lived under a bridge, but I have thought about it. And so I do have some plans, Adam. So you won't be alone. You can live in my neighborhood.
Thank you so much. And we'll start our own podcast called Under the Bridge.
Hang in there, Jeff. Hang in there.
It's a podcast for 6's when it all came true.
Yeah, that's the podcast title. When it all came true. Renee, for
true. I told you so.
So Renee, for you, it's a little bit different though, because the 5s are thinking worst case scenario, the 7s are thinking best case thinking. Where do you feel like you land?
I feel like I am always hopeful. It's funny. I've joked in my family. We talk about what we would put on our tombstones and things like that, or my tombstone anyway. And one of the things we say is she was always hopeful for that would turn out good. Hopeful that the person would be better than they ended up being, or whatever it is. And so I feel like I do. And I don't know if that's just from a place of doing my own work and being in a healthier place. But yeah, I feel like I do try to be positive. I'm overall positive.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we're going to dive.
That is a little bit oxymoronic that on your tombstone it would be hopeful. But
man.
you do you, Renee.
Yeah, I guess it didn't work out, did it?
and the sixes are all like, told you so.
Told you so.
Oh,
But
man.
my tombstone will say not hopeful.
I knew it.
Yeah, I knew it. Oh,
knew
man.
it.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. If you're enjoying this content and you want to take your Enneagram journey to the next level, well, consider working with a personalized Enneagram coach. At myenneagramcoach.com, we offer one-on-one coaching sessions that are tailored to your unique needs and goals. Our coaching services can help you to gain a deeper understanding of your Enneagram type, overcome challenges that are holding you back, and develop a personalized plan for growth while transforming. Now, whether you're struggling with self-condemnation, fear, and shame, or simply you want to unlock your full potential, we're here to help you. If you're ready to take the first step towards transforming your life with a personalized Enneagram coach, then head over to myenneagramcoach.com right now. Thanks again for tuning in, and we look forward to helping you in your Enneagram journey. Well, let's take a dive into, Renee, into your world as a type 5. So fives, again, you're in the head triad, right? So, and when you're healthy, you're going to be profoundly perceptive and capable of original, brilliant, and innovative solutions. And that's what's so amazing about fives. They look at concepts and they literally pull them apart. They're kind of like an engineer. They see something like, let's say, a doorknob. Well, how does that work? And then they pull it apart and then they can put it back together again. So they're brilliant and innovative and lots of different solutions. They're just going to go through it in a different way. But when the five is struggling, they can feel that they need security through more knowledge, and that they have to have more knowledge to be able to actually apply that knowledge to be able to make something possible. And then they can start to unravel and feel like they've really lost themselves if they don't have enough knowledge. They get kind of stuck in analysis paralysis. And so they'll just keep thinking and thinking and thinking and feeling fearful about doing. And so they have this inability to move forward when they feel that they don't have enough knowledge, when they feel ignorant. Now, what's amazing is so often they have so much understanding that they've studied, they've prepared, they've thought through things. And man, if they would just take that step, they would astound all of us. But in their mind, they don't have enough. And so there's a lot of fear. So security to the five is more knowledge, or at least what's what they're believing, when in fact, they actually have so much in the moment. And so that's why we really encourage fives to tap into that 8 part of their heart and to recognize, oh, wait, I have a lot of knowledge. Let me just take, let me just take a step forward. Let me use it. Let me see what I can do with this information. And then they get astounded by how much they can produce. Does this resonate with you, Renee?
Yeah, I can definitely say that, just trying to move forward in whatever I'm working on, if it's creating content for social media with my business or whatever it may be, or if I'm working on a creative project, then I can definitely get lost in just being on the computer and going on rabbit trails. Oh, let me see what does that word mean and how does that fit with that? And I can just go off on a tangent for all these things, and then before I know it, I've spent all of this time, all these hours, and I'm like, okay, what did I do? That wasn't even productive. I didn't even write this article or finish that. I didn't complete anything. And because I totally got trapped just in the thought process, and that just really is very frustrating. So, yeah, I can totally get lost in the thinking about it and not taking action. Definitely.
Can you take a step, back and kind of observe yourself enough to see that you have enough information on, said topic or project or event, and go, wait a second, I have enough here. I don't have all the knowledge of the world, but I'm not going to ever get there. I'm going to actually trust and move forward. Are you able, and well, I'm sure you are able, but Can you tell us of a time when that happened and what that looked like and what that meant for you to actually take that step?
Yeah. So one thing that has helped me just in working on writing projects or whatever it may have been is I actually have to tell myself things out loud like that is not productive. Okay,
Mm.
we change focus or whatever. And so I actually have to just talk it out loud to myself. I
Mhm.
know that sounds a little crazy, but I guess maybe for some people. But yeah, if I can tell myself things like that, and then a phrase that I have used and it's helped me a lot is the phrase action brings clarity. And
Mm.
so that just really kind of forces me to get out of the thinking and to do something so that I can move forward. And for example, you know, my I don't know if we're going into this or not, and tell me if we need to save this answer until another question. But a life verse for me is Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. And so I don't know if you guys want me to unpack that for a second.
Yes, do. Please.
Okay. Okay. But as I've done my own work to be more balanced, then I just realized the beauty and the depth of God's word that was, I hope I don't cry here, but that was just speaking directly to me in that verse. Because, and what I think is so amazing, the first thing, in that verse, and I'll just, I'll just recite the verse: trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him and he will make your path straight. And so, what just really struck me and just really can bring me to tears is that the first thing God is telling me to do is to take action, be in that body center, take action to me, which is trust. That's what I need to
Mm.
do. I need to do something. I need to trust. And with all of my heart, with my feelings, with my emotions. And it's a definite admonition there. Do not lean on your own understanding. Get out of your head. It's
Mm.
almost as if God is
Mm.
speaking that directly to my heart, saying, Renee,
Mm.
this is what you need to do. And because it's like of course, he knows everything about me because he created me. But, that is just such a powerful thing to me. And that has been my life verse for years and years, even before I
Mm.
knew my Enneagram type. And so it's just become so powerful to me and knowing, more about how God wired me and created me, that he would just basically give me that little, that verse, to use, in my day to day, things that I do. And so,
Well, Renee, I wanted to ask you a question. Fives can be stereotyped into being in their head and not in their body. Now, but you've written a book that helps to capture something about your full sense of humanity. How is it, this being in the head triad, how does that impact how you experience yourself in a body and taking care of yourself?
yeah, that's a great question.
I
Actually,
usually ask really good questions, so thank you for
Yeah.
that. Just kidding.
Yeah.
yeah. So, when I first learned more about the Enneagram, I did realize that I was underutilizing my body center or my gut instincts. And so, what that looked like for me is just I've always been like an advocate for whole body wellness. And so, what was interesting to me is that my daughters called me out and they were like, Mom, you know all these things about nutrition and nutritional supplements and these different things, out of the box things for health and wellness, but Mom, you don't exercise. And so I was like, and so they totally called me out because um, that wasn't something that I ever gave much time to. And so now that I'm in a healthier place, and as I started learning more about myself, I realized that that is something that I have to be intentional about, to work on exercising every week, because it's easy to, and even though I am now, it's easy to push that aside because
Mm.
it's not a place that I, go to first at all.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and what I've heard is that for a lot of fives, when they actually get into their body and do some sort of exercise, again, that could be a wide range of different exercises, it helps their mind to settle and to actually connect their head, their heart, and their gut together. Do you feel like that happens for you?
That is very, very true. I sleep so much better. I just feel more energized. So yeah, it's like you get all these great benefits. So then you're motivated to keep doing it. Totally.
Yeah.
Wow.
And as a 5, one thing I've learned is there's this belief that if I just learn more, just a little bit more, just a little bit more, and a little bit more, a little bit more, then everything's going to be okay. But it's not okay yet. So I've got to do a little bit more research. What is that slippery slope? What does that feel like, or what's the experience?
Slippery slope? What are you talking about, slippery slope? It's an awesome experience that other people should embrace their wisdom. Amazon exists for a reason. Find me more books.
As you can hear
Yes.
his 5 wing popping out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, in all seriousness, because I know what as a 9, what my slippery slope is. It's a little bit more comfort. It's a little bit more ease. It's a little bit not doing the crawfish broil, whatever it's called.
You nailed it.
Whatever it's called. It's
Broiling crawfish is not what we're shooting
it's
for here.
it's the ease and the comfort of life that I think if I just get closer to that, then everything's going to be fine. When actually that's not at all the truth. So for you, a little bit more knowledge, which unfortunately we now have, the internet, which you'll never have enough information. So what's that feel like to one, experience that slippery slope? And then what's it like to then be able to step away from it?
Well, I love books too, by the way. And so just always, I guess the thing, I feel like that having the knowledge, it can be in a place of like self-soothing because then, and almost like, okay, I'm just going to be in my own little world here and it feels really good here. And so, you know, so I guess the thing is that I feel like it can bring temporary security, and but I know now that I'm healthier, I know that's a false security. It's not a security that I can stay in, and so yeah, sometimes I really have to like say, okay, enough of that, literally out loud, enough of that. We need to do something, and so yeah, just literally have to speak that out to myself.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Wow.
Interesting, Renee. So I have a very strong 5 wing, and I think we all have some connection to 5, except for Beth, who doesn't have. There's no 5 for Beth.
It's very little.
But,
I mean, we all connect to all 9 types, but my little 5, he's just
Little guy. But so whenever I'm exercising, I'm listening to books. And what has actually become a little helpful for me, maybe you've heard a little bit of the AI stuff that's becoming increasingly popular.
Yes.
But whenever I take a book and start dabbling with GBT, let's say, it actually helps to summarize, consolidate information that makes it more actionable for me. So it actually becomes like a little assistant or an intern that I can voice all the different ideas to translate that in something quickly that still keeps me engaged in my mind, but actually moves me to action. I don't know if have you had any experience with GBT yet?
I have used that, and how I've used it so far is I'll put in something to basically give me like some prompts or start me out if I'm writing an article or content for social media, something like that. So I'll use it as a jumping off place, and then I can just and typically what I'll do is I'll evaluate it and say, okay, this sounds good, I don't like that, and then I'll kind of change it to be my voice. But yeah, that's how I've kind
What
of
an
used it.
interesting approach, though. So you help it to almost translate from research to action. Like, get me started
Yes.
out of my
Yes.
data gathering.
Mhm.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
and it's action.
And it's action. That's
Yeah.
right. Well, why don't we dive into the 60 world?
The 60 world. Okay. Here we go, Adam. So
Hope you're
for
ready.
I don't think we're ever ready.
I woke up this morning. I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah,
Is the six ever really ready?
Well, actually, you guys are way more than ready. You don't think
Deep
you are.
thoughts with Adam
Thing, we don't
Breckenridge.
realize
But
it.
when you guys are in the situation, whatever the situation is, you're ready. Like the rest of us are freaking out because we didn't prepare.
Yeah, because we did all our freaking out, every other
Beforehand.
day. Yeah, all the time. And then in the moment of crisis, we're calm, cool, and collected. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So for the sixes, you guys, when you're healthy, you think systematically and can predict potential problems. You are very loyal and committed to friends, to family, to those that, you have a lot of admiration for. And you look for similar qualities in others to be that for you. And that brings security and that connection with others. But at the beginning, when there's a struggle beginning, you can have a lot of doubt that arises. And you feel that, I've got to have, a solid ability to make good decisions, but you're not feeling that you have, I should say, you're not thinking, you're not thinking you have the right information to make those decisions. And so you look outside yourselves for, let's say, permission. It's kind of like the common word. I think a lot of sixes think I need permission from an authority figure or a belief system that I trust in to help pave the way for me, to help me know that I'm making a good decision. And so there's this dependency on someone that they trust to help them to feel guided, secured, and supported in the decisions that they're actually going to make. Now, what's interesting is sixes, they actually know the decision they want to make. And so they'll go around looking for someone basically to give them that permission. That's why permission is such a big thing, because if they talk to 3 people and 2 of them are taking them on a different path that they actually weren't going to make that decision, they kind of discount them like, well, you don't know what you're talking about. And then the person that kind of lands like in agreement with the 6 is like, okay, good. I got the permission. I'm okay to move forward. And so it's just really interesting how, now that's not all the time. If the 6 really is genuinely curious and has nothing to go off of course, they're very teachable. But if they do have that intuition inside or that thought process, they want to move forward, they're really kind of looking for the person to say, yeah, go for it. Now, you might find that you need someone to protect or to help you to feel secure. But the sad thing about that is the more that they're seeking protection and security from anyone, the more actually they can struggle inside because they can start to feel suspicious, fearful, and doubting towards others, even if they're allies or supporters, because they're not always going to be able to come through for the 6 in the way that they really hope or they feel like they need to. And so all of a sudden it's like, well, can I trust this person? They didn't come through for me last time. And so it brings up a lot of suspiciousness for the 6s, which creates insecurity. And then they start to feel desperate in looking for even more resources. And so their mind then starts spinning out of control. And where all of this is really coming from is the 6's inner committee. So the 6s have an inner committee. I mean, we all have, an inner, voice or a way of thinking, but theirs is really loud and it's chiming in from all different viewpoints. And they're very convincing that all these scenarios could play out and be a catastrophe. And so they feel like they have to be mindful of all of it, but they don't know which direction to go to secure security, which is actually secure security.
Like you nailed it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was actually a really good phrase.
I was like, when that came out, I was like, is that okay? So they want to secure security, but who should they listen to, and what is the actual truth? And that brings up a lot of fear. And so here we're talking about the head triad of fear or anxiety and security. So Adam, I'd love to hear from you. 1, how did this all kind of land on you? And 2, what is that like to experience the inner committee who, again, like we were talking about with Renee, it's a slippery slope. How does the inner committee take you down a path of constant worry and constant new situations that you're thinking of that could go wrong? And how do you then navigate that?
It definitely lands. My new phrase, by the way, is going to be, I am trying to secure security. That's my new phrase. And I want to feel safe safely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I want to feel, I want to feel safe safely. It's because feeling safe is vulnerable. It's vulnerable to actually trust that, okay, I'm okay. I'm safe.
Yeah.
It all lands, I definitely find myself overanalyzing, living out of my head, which exaggerates the anxiety. My wife likes to say that I have the gift of overthinking. Um, but it does fuel the anxiety because, and I know this, but it's hard to stop.
Mm.
But no matter how hard you try, you can't think everything through.
Yeah.
You can't think of every possibility. You can't chase everything down, to its possible conclusion. And so it can create a life of worry and anxiety. I think when I'm aligned, with
Mhm.
the truth of the gospel, when I'm living in that healthy place, I think that my thinking things through is a gift,
Yeah.
honestly. It helps me prepare. Let me back up because there's so much I want to say, and I'm trying to be concise, but fear is a gift in of itself, and
Mhm.
and fear can lead to the gift of preparation and wisdom. I think I've said this maybe on the podcast before, but a mentor of mine used to say to me, um, if I'm going to go to war, I want to go to war with people who are afraid and they know they're afraid.
Mm.
Because if they're afraid and they're attuned to their fear, they're going to prepare.
Sure.
They're going to make sure they have all their ammo, and they're going to make sure they know what their assignment is, and they're going to think everything through, and they're going to
Mhm.
be prepared. And so fear can lead to the gift of preparation and wisdom. If they're not afraid, or they're not attuned to how afraid they actually are, then they're going to go out there on the battlefield with some kind of bravado or something that's going to get themselves killed and put their teammates in a compromising position. So I think the thinking things through, which is usually coming from a place of fear, can be a gift. The problem is, uh, bring it back to the inner committee. When I'm misaligned, the inner committee is so loud, the voices are so strong, and all the different scenarios, there are so many. It causes a great deal of anxiety, and not only for me, but within my family system. The people who live with me have to tolerate it. So, um, and you asked a question of how do I navigate that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, okay. Let's see if you can think of a scenario, because as a
Yeah.
6, what okay, I am surrounded by 6s on my
Yes.
team, my
You
husband,
say
my
that, right,
son.
with such
I know.
joy and relief.
Yes.
Like it was
Yes.
almost a confession of blessedness.
Yes. So my team, you, my son, my best friend, my mom.
I mean, we're probably a lot like fire ants. I remember Richard Rohr once saying, like, 6s are the most plentiful on the Enneagram. Like,
Which I don't know if
we're
that's
just
true, but
everywhere. Like, you just
Yeah.
can't get away from us.
Yeah.
right.
Yes.
But here's what I want to say. And hopefully this will land on you 6s as affirming.
What?
And I say that because it's hard
Hopefully.
for 6s to
Hopefully.
receive affirmation, right? So
Go ahead, Beth.
6s are some of the most discerning types that
Mhm.
I know. But they don't believe that they're discerning, so they look
Yeah.
outside themselves for security, for
Mhm.
truth. And
Yeah.
I'm like, but you're the one that has it. I mean, like my mom growing up, I was
Yeah,
always astounded
it
by her
doesn't
discernment.
feel like discernment.
What does it feel like?
You've got a number of different things going on in your mind, and there's the one thing that you may have shared that had insight.
Mm-hmm.
But there's 50 other thoughts in there, and you don't really know what's real and what's not. It's just they're just happened in your head.
Yeah.
Well, from
And
the
so if we might say something like, I'm not even committed to what I said. So it
But
Yes.
what I would say is when I'm around you guys and you have this wisdom and discernment and you actually take a step in that direction and make a decision from that aligned place, it is profound. So Adam,
Mm.
well, I do have another question for him too.
well, I would just like to hear real quickly, like, when has there been a time in your life that you can think of off the top of your head where you did have the inner committee chiming in, but you were able to ground yourself in and get aligned with the truth and then make the hard decision and make a decision, and not necessarily because you were supported by any one person, but because you knew it was the right thing to do?
What she's
Yeah,
really asking is, Adam, working for a 9 and a 6, when have you not been able to trust our leadership and have had to lead us? I don't know, Adam. Do what you
when
want to
yeah,
do.
yeah, when have I not had the clarity? No, that immediately the low hanging fruit answer for me is the scenario that comes to mind is a few years ago I was wrestling with a major career transition out of full-time pastoring, which I had done for 20 years. It was all I had known, into joining a team with my friends called Your Enneagram Coach to take this director of coaching position. And I remember knowing in my gut what I wanted, that I wanted to do it. I remember discerning that this is the right next move for me, for my family. This is what I want. There was so many voices both outside of me and inside of me that was speaking into this. And to your point, Beth, about 6s are some of the most discerning people. I don't disagree with that. And I've experienced that even in my own, that's been true in my own experience. The problem is, as soon as I know what I want, I feel irresponsible if I don't fact check that and triple check that and quadruple check that. And think about it. And it's, people say that 6s on the Enneagram are, some people are ready, fire, aim, and 6s are ready, aim, 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 fire.
You forgot to breathe. You got to at least sigh
Yeah.
once in a while.
Yeah, exactly. So
Double check everything.
double check everything. Yeah. And, but, I remember it was actually my brother-in-law who, in a phone call with my brother-in-law, that really was a game changer for me, because I had prayed, I had honestly fasted, asked tons of people, mentors and lots of different people, and I was getting competing voices, and I couldn't get so it wasn't like there was a collective answer from all these mentors. I was actually getting competing advice on this whole decision. And my brother-in-law just said, and I know this is perhaps a violent phrase, but let's just go with, everybody is familiar with this metaphor. He said, you're safe with me. You can say anything you want to me. And I said, yes. And he said, gun to your head, tell me what you want. And I said, I want to work with Beth and Jeff, and I want to, this is what I want to do. And the moment I said it out loud was just, so I have to practice trusting myself. That's the only way forward for me is, and I feel like my type 3 part helps me do that. My type 7 wing helps me do that. Let's take risks. But the 7 part of me wants to jump out of the plane, like wants to take the risk, And
your 9, of course, is always, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, the 9 is always ready to do the next thing. Let's take the
We're just always risk, out there doing it.
Man, I can't keep up with Beth.
Yeah. So yes, I do receive that affirmation of 6s are discerning. Yeah. I notice my gut instincts, and it's just that inner committee. So there's an inner knowing of what I want, what I need, what the right thing to do is. The inner committee loves to get in the way of that. And I just have to practice silencing those voices and taking what I know to be is the right next step. And sometimes I do that. Sometimes the inner committee gets the best of me. But yeah, I hope that answers your question.
I was going to ask a profound question. And,
do it.
But I want to make sure, be mindful of our time, because we have the world of a 7 to step into here. So it was going to be an amazing question, but whenever our podcast launches on, it was all a fantasy until it became real, a podcast for 6s. You'll have to listen, and when it comes out, because then I'll ask it on the podcast. It'll be our first episode.
These two guys have like 6 or 7 different podcasts ready to go. Okay, so the world of 7s. Now, when 7s are healthy, they can do so many things really well because they're quick, they're creative, they have avid minds. But when they start to struggle, they can overextend themselves with more activities and experiences than that they can actually accomplish. And they fear that they're going to see or deal with certain kind of pains, anxieties, inner turmoil. And because of this, they're going to flee outside into an active world. of
Mm.
things that have fun and stimulation and experiences that allow their attention to not go internal but stay external where all the fun is. At least it is what they're thinking. Now, for sixes, they will fill their minds with all these different exciting options and future plans, again, to avoid those internal anxieties. And their minds become restless and they want to move from one activity to another. And what's amazing with sevens is they don't just have one possibility ready, they have multiple possibilities ready. So if they start getting bored in something, oh, they've got plan A through Z ready to go, and they'll just pick which one is the one that sounds the best right now. And they might slip away and go and do that fun activity because boredom is like kryptonite to them. Now, you'll see that they're constantly in forward motion. It's really hard for them to be still and to be quiet and to be alone for any length of time because those internal anxieties and realities start to rise up, and they're going to start to feel trapped in facing them. And so they feel desperate to escape. So Kasey, can you just describe for yourself what that feels like? The internal anxieties, what does that feel like when you start to recognize they're there or you're being forced to see it there? What does it feel like in your body or in your mind when those rise up?
Yeah, it feels like chaos. It feels like there's so many things bouncing around. I'm immediately, like you said, planning something fun. I have to have things to look forward to. When I'm in a moment of heightened anxiety, it almost pulls me back to the present. Like, okay, Friday, I have this. I can do this. But it's like chaos. I resonate a lot with, I think it's in First Kings, Elijah, when, God speaks to him in the whisper, because he has all these things coming at him, the hurricanes and the fire. And you think you can hear God in the middle of that. And he's waiting to hear God in the middle of that. And it wasn't until there's silence, like absolute silence, that he hears God's whisper. And I think that's something for me that has really been prevalent in my life. Like I mentioned earlier about my son having an intellectual disability, I was in go mode. I was in forward motion, planning all the doctors, figuring this out. I was going to have an answer by the end of, the year. I mean, this was when he was very little, and I still don't have an answer, and he's 8. And it was almost God needed to slow me down so that he could speak to me in those moments, because I was just out of control of my thinking and of myself. Trying to research all the possibilities, trying to figure out something that, I could put an answer to. And he ended up waking me up every night at 2 a.m. for 6 months. And at first I was angry, and then I would just get out of bed and I would sit by the side of my bed and just start praying. And that was when God spoke to me the most. And it was in that silent, wee early hour mornings that he was like, hey, this is the only way I'm going to get your attention, because your body is full of chaotic thoughts all the time. So that's what it feels like for me. And then that's what I do when I want to bring it down. It's almost that be still you mentioned. I have that tattooed on my arm. It's a reminder all the time, because it's like, I have to be still. That is something I have to actively and intentionally do.
Yeah.
When others come to you and they feel that frenetic, chaotic energy from you, whether it be a spouse, a friend, a parent, a sibling, how do you receive their initiative when they see that you're anxious, but maybe you've not recognized it yet?
That's a great question. I think I honestly probably immediately go to defensiveness. Like, I'm not anxious. What are you talking about? I've got all these things to look forward to. It's a great day. Everything's great. Kind of like inside out. It's fine. Everything's fine. Like,
Well, and
Yes.
actually,
that's my immediate response.
the newest Ted Lasso, that's what he was like the whole show. Like, wait,
Yeah.
so and so said that I have, issues. Do you think? Well, of course you do. Like,
Yeah.
but no, wait. And they kept going from person to person, kind of like, no, you all got it wrong. Let me ask this person. They can see like everything's perfectly fine, until he realized there is something going on.
There
And I
is.
have to
And
sit with it.
yes, I think that's hard for sevens. It's an immediate knee-jerk reaction to be like, nope, everything's great. And clearly that's not. And it takes a moment for you to kind of come full circle and come back to that thought and be like, oh, everything's not really great. And this is why.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, isn't that true for all of the head types? When I think about my own research and study, it's an indicator of something else, although it can be baptized in, oh no, I'm just doing my research. I'm just running out the options. And even recently with challenges that we face, I find myself predicting, like preparing for different scenarios in the future.
Mm-hmm.
None of them are great. Like none of them are even good or fine. They're just are.
They're reality.
They're
right?
reality.
As all sixes say.
The least preferred options are the only options that I have. But I can already find myself doing it. And I also find that, and this gets into our thoughts around the Enneagram internal profile, but the 7 part of my heart is also trying to alleviate some of the anxiety. So I'm diving into certain types of literature in preparation for a book. I'm also trying to have fun by planning crawfish broils, as my wife calls them.
Yeah.
Can you imagine
Wrong
an oven
cooking
big
method,
enough
everyone.
to broil that with 60 pounds of crayfish?
Wrong cooking method.
That's right.
You're going to start a fire.
Be cooked for sure. But all of that is online now, and it could be, it feels okay to me, but actually the nexus behind it is anxiety.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm just curious, Kasey, do you feel it as anxiety?
Yeah, I don't. And that's the weird thing. When you say anxiety, like for a long time, I was like, I don't really resonate with anxiety being a struggle. It's fear. It's
Yeah.
fear of the unknowns. It's fear of pain
And missing out?
and missing out completely. Fear of missing out. But my emotions are always stemmed from the fear of something. And I think for me personally, it's always pain. Like I don't want to feel any pain relationally in any way at all. I mean, as a mom, and your kids, I mean, there's a million things every day that we can have and feel pain. And for 7, that is absolutely my greatest fear. I don't see it quite as anxiety because that looks differently to me. I don't know. It's like an anxiousness, and I don't feel like I have that. I just have.
And I think a lot of 7s actually agree with that, especially I would say 7s with 8 wings. I think 7s with, we all have both wings, but ones that experience more of the 6 wing, I think they can feel the anxiety more physically. Whereas I think for you as a 7 who leans more heavily into the 8 might not actually feel the physical anxiety, but the fear is there, the mental, like, oh, that's not going to be a place I want to go. So I'm going to jump out over here into a much more happy. And that's the thing that's so amazing about 7s is the resilience-ness of 7s. And, a big difference that you can, like when people are like, am I a 3 or am I a 7? Well, 3s, there's absolute failure. And 7s, it's like, no, it's just a new opportunity. You know, like there's a million things we can do with this failure. Like, let's try something else. And that resilience that the 7s have is really remarkable. And I hope that
I'm just curious, Adam, do you ever think about mistakes being opportunities? Or like I had a number of ways that I knew I was going to fail and I slipped into opportunity.
No, I didn't stumble into opportunity. No, that's not the first place my mind goes. No.
I'm assuming that's not what you're thinking, Jeff.
Oh, I only think about the mistakes.
Yeah,
Only
and I'm in trouble.
mistakes.
I'm in trouble. I've compromised the team. I've compromised the fam. This is bad. It's good. Yeah, the mistakes.
I seriously had a pastor one time tell me, because it just church inner workings and conflict, and I said, I think I'm the reason why this church isn't growing. And this great older veteran pastor said, "You're not that important." Yes. It was so comforting my heart. Like, thank you. I'm not that bad.
It's not just on you. So when I think about the head triad, and how you guys operate, I think the one thing that a lot of the stuff that we're talking about here sounds very negative, but we also really want to show the beauty of how God has put us in these different categories to operate out of. And yes, we want to be mindful of how we can, go down a slippery slope and into areas that are not helpful. But you guys are able to bring such wisdom and insight from thinking things through and being very mindful and gaining whether it's gaining knowledge, gaining wisdom, gaining guidance, experiences. And so I want everyone that's listening to not just hear this podcast as we're putting the head triad down. We're highlighting, yes, certain things that can trip you guys up, but man, you have so much to offer, and we're so thankful for what you guys have to offer us.
It is great to hear. I mean, we hear about the stereotypes and the different descriptions of each of the different types, but to actually hear from your story about how it shows up in your life, how we can love and serve those different numbers that we have relationships with. So you're a real gift, and we're incredibly grateful.
Well, could you guys just tell us where people can find you? They might be interested in having a type 5 coach or a 7 coach or a 6 coach. Can you tell us where they can find you? We'll start with Renee.
Okay, sure. So my website is findingmechristiancoaching.com, and I'm on Instagram with that same handle, Finding Me Christian Coaching. And there's resources on my website that you guys can check out. And I would love to have a real conversation with anyone who's interested in checking out Enneagram coaching.
That's awesome. Thank you. Adam?
Yeah, so go to our wonderful worldwide directory, myenneagramcoach.com, where you'll find a lot of amazing coaches if you're looking for coaching. But you can also find me and are listed in our directory, or you can find me on Facebook, you can find me on Instagram, or you can always shoot me an email at adam@yourenneagramcoach.com.
Great. And then Kasey, what about you?
Yeah, my website is thejoyfulwild.com. And then you can find me on Instagram at Kasey Eldridge Brennan. And I love helping people. I love working with groups. Groups are my favorite.
Oh.
And did you say the joyful and wild?
The Joyful Wild.
Joyful
Wild.
Wild.
Ooh.
Joyful Wild, I like
love
it.
It's a very
That's
7 Enneagram
epic.
name.
Nailed
Yes,
it.
it is.
Absolutely.
I love
Who
it.
wouldn't want a coach like that?
Oh, man.
I mean, people would call Adam and I wild, but I don't know if people would say
Yeah.
it's joyful.
Definitely wild.
Definitely
Yeah,
wild.
definitely wild.
Oh, man. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing your insights, your experiences, and being a part of the Head Triad, and just giving an insight for everyone to understand what it's like for a 5, 6, and 7 to be a part of the Head Triad. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. If you're enjoying this content and you want to take the Enneagram journey to the next level, we invite you to check out our free Ennea What mini course. In Ennea What, I teach you about the Enneagram, how to find your type, and how to use the acronym AWARE to help you to more effectively apply the Enneagram to your life. To get started with Ennea What mini course, simply click in the link in the show notes. So don't miss out on this opportunity to unlock the power of the Enneagram with our free mini course. Again, thanks again for tuning in, and we look forward to supporting you on this journey.